Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Drafted Up Podcast, a podcast focused on the NFL draft and fantasy football drafts. I'm your host, Theo. That's Nick. As always, welcome to the show. Big one today. The final episode before the NFL draft. It's Tuesday on our end. We're 2 days away from the spectacular show that is the NFL draft. I'm ready. I'm actually exhausted. The draft process, as fun as it is, can really wear you out. But before we dive on into this episode, follow us over on Twitter at draftedup_pod. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on Apple or Spotify. Search Drafted Up Podcast will pop up. As always, we appreciate the support and love that you guys give to our show, and that's why we're here each and every other day at this point, it feels like. But once the draft slows down, we're going to be more of a weekly thing, which will be nice to do. But Nick, how you doing today?
Just getting ready for the draft. Busy. Been a busy day.
Hell yeah. We're actually in the process of doing a 7-round mock draft. We did it last year for the first time. That was in person. Work and life is getting in the way of this one, so we're just trying to do it over Messenger, and it's a pain, but we're doing it. We're not going to share all 7 rounds with you guys because we're not done yet, and I don't think you want to hear us talk about who's taken Troy Taylor, the punter from Iowa, in the 5th round of the draft. But we do have 2 full rounds completed, so we are going to do 2 rounds here today for you guys, which means we're getting every team at least one selection before we've only done 1 round. So Carolina didn't get picks, and the Texans, and the other team who doesn't pick in the first, Cleveland, yes, the Browns. But this isn't just a straight mock, as we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trades for you guys through those 2 rounds. So be on the lookout for that. I was trying to find a cool little sound bite to play, but such is such. It won't be that. We're still not fancy here on this podcast. No budget. The no budget Drafted Up Podcast. I almost said lost followers again.
You gotta cut it out.
I'm struggling here. But I got a nice hot tea, hoping it helps my headache. So here we go. What we did, usually we do every other pick. Instead, we randomized mostly 16 teams for each of us. We each got 8 from each conference. Nick did take the Giants. I took the Vikings. Those were the only set teams for this. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get started here. I'm excited. Before we go, which draft coverage are you going to watch on Thursday? You just going to watch the basic ESPN one?
I'm a sucker for Mel, so I'm going to stick with Mel.
It's a real shame. They're doing Mel dirty by having him with fucking Booger McFarlane. No.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to
offense,
Booger
but
whatsoever. But I'm a sucker for Mel, so
I'm tempted to triple screen it. I might take the iPad from work, put on Pat McAfee on that, ESPN on the TV, the ABC coverage on the laptop, so I can get some Field Yates. Maybe just hook up my TV out there too. We'll do the NFL coverage. We'll just have them all.
Watch them all. Watch them all and get the same info from all 4.
Yep, and we'll live stream on TikTok. We'll make a TikTok and throw on takes after each pick. But no, we're not doing that. But yeah, I love how into it TV networks are for the NFL draft this year. It is everywhere. ESPN's churning through it. NFL Network, they're doing a bunch of stuff too. So that's super cool. As well, that it seems like the general media is treating the draft the same as us draft psychos here.
It's about time.
But I do look forward to not having to watch tape for a little bit. As much as I love it.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll get the itch in June, July, and be like, I really want to watch a tape on somebody. But
we'll take a couple months off and then we'll get back with summer scouting.
Yeah, and we'll do draft recaps after the draft, and then we'll start churning in fantasy football stuff. So
yeah,
never a dull moment here. But let's start our 2024 NFL draft. It's a predictive mock. It's not what we would do. We're trying to be as accurate as possible to what we think the actual teams are going to do. So the Chicago Bears are on the clock, and that is a team that Nick is controlling. Chicago got this first pick from Carolina through that Bryce Young trade. I'd say they won out pretty big on that one. Nick, take it away. Who's the first overall selection of the NFL draft?
With the easiest pick in the draft, the Bears select quarterback Caleb Williams, USC.
Yep. It's been talked to death. We're not going to really dive into that one. No. The Bears have done everything in their power to set up Caleb Williams here, and they're looking scary. It's an exciting time to be a Bears fan. I know as a Vikings fan, I'm dreading it.
Yeah, they got cap room next year too, and they got the quarterback salary for the next 5. The Bears are going to look pretty good for the next decade.
I agree. So second pick is the Washington Commanders. That is a team that I am controlling. Didn't really think about trading back here, but I went with quarterback Jaden Daniels from LSU. I know there's been a lot of controversy surrounding this second pick, as it seems nobody wants to go to Washington, but I don't buy into that. And Washington's come out and said that they're not really taking any trade offers or phone calls for this pick. They're set, and I think Daniels is their guy. I think it's all smoke screen. He's the dude in my eyes for Washington.
I agree. I think Daniels has been the dude for the last couple weeks, but you can't really go off what anyone is saying. You just got to go off what you're kind of feeling. Yep. Everything's kind of smoke screen the last 48, 72 hours. So.
Yep. And that puts number 3, which is the New England Patriots, on the clock. But wait, I hear there's a trade.
My phone's
There's
ringing.
a trade. The first trade, Nick was controlling the New England Patriots, but my Minnesota Vikings came calling, and they offered up pick 11, pick 23, and a 25 first for the third pick and a 25 fourth to New England. The Patriots accepted the deal, and now it is the Minnesota Vikings on the clock here at 3. And this, to me, if you listen to the Big Board episode, you know this one's a no-brainer in my eyes. But I think from Minnesota's eyes, I think they love Drake May. They brought in Josh McCown as the quarterback coach who coached Drake May in high school. Lock it in. I do think there would be a slim chance, like a 5% chance, that they would go with J.J. McCarthy, because I think they do like him, and I think he does fit in Minnesota well. But the intangibles of Drake May, I think, really fit this offense. The way Kevin O'Connell wants to run the show, he wants to pepper the middle of the field, and that's what Drake May succeeds at. And I draft Drake May, lock up Justin Jefferson, and Minnesota's back in it, baby.
You got to go Drake May over JJ. It doesn't make sense. There's no world I'm taking JJ over Drake May. It doesn't line up. But for New England, they get trade back. They get 2 first next year, so they're sitting pretty.
Yep, they have a lot of holes on that offense, just on that roster in general. So it does make sense for them to get some extra draft capital, build that roster a little bit for their eventual rookie quarterback, whether that be this year or next year. That puts up number 4. It's the Arizona Cardinals, another me team. I didn't answer the phone. I know teams were probably calling up for J.J. McCarthy, but I got the number 1 player on the big board. I have a franchise quarterback in Kyler Murray, and I have no weapons for him. I don't know if you've looked at that Arizona depth chart at wide receiver, but it's Chris Moore, Michael Wilson, and Greg Dortch. Cool. I'm drafting Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver from Ohio State. I'm getting an alpha in that receiver room. I'm getting Kyler a weapon. I'm taking it off Trey McBride. I'm starting to build this offense right and trying to make Arizona a contender again.
Yeah, no, I don't have Arizona, obviously, But if Arizona doesn't walk out of the draft with either Marv, Neighbors, or Rome, it's an automatic F in my eyes. Like, it's not a successful draft. You have one job, and it's to get Kyler Murray a weapon. There's a huge difference between the three guys at the top of the class compared to everyone else. So if Arizona does end up trading back to, let's say, 11, they're going to have to trade back in, which they did last year. They went from, I think, 3 to 12 to 7.
Yep.
So they would have to jump back in to get one of the receivers.
Yeah, and I wouldn't put that out of the question, but I eventually you do have to make picks. And
yeah, exactly. Arizona's sitting Harrison on all Jr. of these picks.
Yep. And like you said, the difference between, like, I know the receiving class is deep, and we love the receiving class, but there's a big tier gap from Marv, Rome, and Neighbors to everybody else. Like,
huge gap.
Don't be pretty.
Yeah.
Don't wait till the second round. Be like, oh, I can get, Troy Franklin or Xavier Legette. No, you could get Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, exactly. You can grab someone in the second where it would be better than grabbing a receiver.
Yep, and that puts up the Los Angeles Chargers on the clock, and that is you, Nick. Who you going here?
That is me. You tried to constantly get this pick from a couple of teams.
I did. I was trying to move up for
a couple offers came
guys.
in, and none of them really stuck out to my eyes that the Chargers would be benefiting. So I just ended up pulling the trigger on Joe Alt, offensive tackle from Notre Dame. They do have Slater at left, so either Slater or Joe Alt's going to have to slide to right. I would assume it's going to be Joe Alt.
Slater could also play guard if they wanted to go that route. I know, but it's an option.
You got two elite tackles. I think they're set on tackles.
I agree, but apparently they love their right tackle as well. So if they feel the best combo is keeping, I think the right tackle is Trey Pipkins.
It is.
And then sliding Slater inside, because Slater does have shorter arms, but I do agree. I think they'll be the two tackles. I think it'll be Alt and Slater playing the tackle positions. Yeah. But it is an option there if they do want to go that route.
Yeah, definitely. But none of the offers that I got would be better than just picking Joe Alt.
Yeah. And Joe Alt is now the betting odds favorite as we record to go to the Chargers at pick 5.
Did not know.
Yep. Like, I know they need receiving help. They've cleared out that receiving room, but I can't buy Harbaugh not taking a lineman.
I don't buy him buying into a receiver in the top 10. I don't think he would pick a receiver in the top 10. If he does, I think he trades back and just drafts Brock Bowers. I think that's more of a Harbaugh move.
A Harbaugh move. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hey, maybe he really likes Quentin Johnston. Who knows?
Godspeed.
Or Josh Palmer. Maybe he likes one of those guys.
That would be my bet.
Yeah. So that goes, now we're going to number 6 here. The New York Giants. As we said before we started, that is you. That's your team. That's your squad. Where are you going?
There's a whole bunch of quarterback talk with JJ being the Vikings or the Giants moving up to snag either him or May. May off the board, so I'm not even looking at him, obviously. Man, if we go JJ, that would break my heart. If you really want to go with Danny Jones, you got to get him some type of weapon. And with Barkley out of the house, Waller hasn't even committed to playing football this year. So I'm going Malik Neighbors, wide receiver, LSU. You got to get Danny a weapon, and he's the one that's left on the board.
Yep, I agree. I think the Giants and the quarterback stuff is all a smoke show. I think it's all to get other teams to either trade into their pick or trade up above them so then they can land the guy they want, whether that be Neighbors, Rome. A very slim chance that it's Marv. But I don't think the Giants drafting a quarterback is a thing this high.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would personally go Rome. This isn't what I would do, but I think Neighbors end up as a New York Giant come Thursday. And hey, man, I'm happy as hell about it. I'm not going to complain. We haven't had 1,000-yard receiver since Odell, so he's the second coming in my eyes.
It's been a hot minute.
Yep.
All right, so number 7, the Tennessee Titans are on the clock. That is also a team you're franchising here. A little bit different scenario here. This is usually the Joe Alt pick. Joe Alt's like always here, and this is a no-brainer. So kind of a thought process here for Tennessee. What you doing here? New head coach Brian Callahan coming in, replacing Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, like you said, it's usually the Joe Alt pick, and I'm gonna stick with the same position. I'm gonna go with J.C. Latham, offensive tackle from Alabama.
Wow.
I think he's gonna be everyone's favorite offensive lineman come besides Joe Alt. He's gonna test well, interview well. Teams love this guy. I think he goes way earlier than we have him ranked. I think he ends up near the top 10 come Thursday. So I'm just gonna slide him right here into Tennessee.
All right, what a wild and bold move. I know we talked about it on the big board episode. J.C. Latham, I'm starting to feel it, but I still don't buy it that high. But I did say I do think the NFL is going to really love this guy. I am a little worried about his lack of experience at left tackle, but he's big, strong boy, so I think he's the kind of guy that the Callahans, father-son combo there, are going to really like.
You glitched on my screen for the last minute and a half. You weren't saying anything.
Yeah, well, it'll
just
show
a
up.
heads up.
I liked the pick. It'll be fine. My audio, the thing records locally, so we'll be good.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's going to make a really good tackle in the NFL. That's really what Tennessee's missing on their offensive line. Yeah.
Him next to Skoronski, that might make the transition to left tackle a little easier for Latham. Skoronski's a really good guard. He was one of the few elite prospects last year. So I do like that. Was there any chance of going weapon like Rome or Brock Bowers there, or were you were locked in on Latham?
No, Rome was the other guy on my board. It was either him or a tackle. And I think with them bringing in Calvin Ridley, and they still got Hopkins for the rest of the year, he is a free agent after this year, but they can go with a receiver in the offseason.
Traylon Burke season incoming?
We'll see what happens. I like that
we'll
guy.
See. All right, next up, number 8, the Atlanta Falcons. That's a Nick team, but my ears ringing. There's a trade. Well, one of the teams that I was trying to trade up to 5 has moved up here to 8, and that is the New York Jets. And the Jets trade pick 10, their 4th round pick this year, which is 111, and a 25 6th round pick to Atlanta for pick 8. So now I was trying to move up to 5 for the Jets for 2 guys. And one of those guys is still on the board here. And that is wide receiver Rome Odunze. I did also, the person at 5 I was also considering was Joe Alt. Figure, get Rodgers some protection because the 2 tackles are a little injury prone and not reliable. But Rome Odunze with Garrett Wilson, I know the Jets, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have rapport with rookie receivers, whatever. This is different. He's on the back end of his career, and the Jets don't really have another option outside Garrett Wilson as a receiver.
They have
they got Mike Williams, but how many games Mike Williams going to play?
Half of them.
7. Yeah, I love Mike Williams, but you get another dynamic option in here in Rome Odunze, who a lot of draft pundits have compared pro-comped him to Devontae Adams. So that gets Rodgers to Adams. The new Adams is Rome Odunze in that case. I like that, though. And then for future Jets quarterback, you're having Rome and Garrett Wilson. You're setting up whoever the predecessor is going to be very well. I think Rome's too much to turn down. Like you said, big tier gap between the next receiving group. And I'm hoping the board falls when the Jets have to pick again, and I can get an offensive lineman there for them.
There's a good chance it will. Rome with Rodgers' ability to hit receivers back shoulder, and that's Rome's specialty. It would be amazing to watch every Sunday. I would be thrilled.
Yep. All right. So that's that. And now pick 9, the Chicago Bears are on the clock, but there's another trade coming. And this is a Nick to Nick special here. There's a certain player still on the board, and there's a team in desperate need of that position. The Denver Broncos have traded up to pick 9 here. Chicago is sending the 9th overall pick to Denver for pick 12. their 5th-round pick, which is pick 136, and their other 5th-round pick, 145. So that's 12 and 2 5s to Chicago for pick 9 here. Now the Denver Broncos are on the clock. I imagine this one's an easy one for you, Nick.
Very easy. I traded Denver up to jump a couple teams and then just solidify that they get the guy that they want. Denver jumps up to grab quarterback J.J. McCarthy, Michigan. And I would assume he's gonna start, but maybe not with them getting Zach Wilson. There's a chance he can sit a year, which I think would do JJ huge benefits. I don't want him to play at all this year. I'm not advocating for JJ if he plays this year. If he gets to sit, it's a whole different story.
Yeah, but in Denver, that doesn't exactly fit the glove there because, I mean, Jarrett Stidham and Zach Wilson, one of them will start the year, and maybe JJ does kind of slide in midway through, like maybe he picks up the playbook real quick and Sean Payton really dumps it down for him to kind of help ease his process. All right, so that J.J. McCarthy there, 9 to Denver on the trade up, and now the Atlanta Falcons are up at 10. As mentioned, they did trade with the New York Jets, so this is their spot now, and this is Nick. Who you going here for Atlanta?
I was able to move Atlanta back a couple spots and then still snag the best defensive end in the draft in my eyes. Defensive end, Liatu Latu, UCLA. He's the best pure polished pass rusher in the draft, and he's going to help Atlanta instantly, and that's what Atlanta needs. They have such a tiny window now with Kirk. They have to pull every trigger they can, so you got to get guys that are ready to go day one.
I agree. I know a lot of people, the easy and favorite slide pick for Atlanta is Dallas Turner, but Dallas Turner does provide a lot of bust potential, and he is similar to a guy like Vic Beasley, who Atlanta is familiar with. He's a real traitsy, toolsy guy who came in, had a really good year one year, and then just kind of fell off the face of the earth. So Latu is a super safe pick. He's already polished. He's got all the full pass set move. But I love the pick there for Atlanta. That puts New England on the clock here. They traded down from 3 to 11 with Minnesota, and that is Nick as well. So Nick, New England Patriots, who they taking with their first of 2 first-round selections?
Just like Atlanta. I was able to trade back and then still get someone that's going to immediately impact the Patriots, and that's Troy Futanu, Washington, offensive line. The Patriots could use a tackle. They could use a guard. He could play either, and he's going to protect whatever quarterback they end up fielding. Being Jacoby Brissett, one in the draft. He's the guy that's going to instantly make a New England team better, and that's what they really need in the trenches.
Yep. Yeah, he fits the Patriot scheme. Like, he's just a solid football player, and Patriots have a pretty good track record of drafting some decent offensive linemen, even if some of them are reach, like Cole Strange a few years ago when they drafted him in the first round. But I love Fatano here to New England. It's not one you see very often. Like, that's a sort of a new one. And moving on now, the Chicago Bears are up. Again, another team that traded back with 5 straight picks here that were impacted by trades. This is Denver's original selection. Who are the Bears going here at 12, Nick?
I'm going to help them on the defensive side of the ball. They're out here helping Caleb Williams a lot, but you got to get some defense in the house. I'm going to go with defensive end Dallas Turner, Alabama. High upside guy, high motor guy, a guy that can really fit into the Chicago motto they got going on now. He's young, hot, flashy. Fits the house.
He also apparently big into like business ventures. I found that out yesterday. Yeah, like his dad's like a Wall Street guy, and
big CEO
Dallas Turner's been involved with like business ventures since high school. So like he's all about that stuff. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, Dallas Turner there, Chicago. I like that. Pairing him with Montez Sweat, that's dangerous, especially if Turner hits the ceiling that he has. Chicago here making out. Caleb Williams, Dallas Turner so far here. And that puts up the Las Vegas Raiders at 13. And that's me. I'm back, baby. I did consider quarterback here. There was some thought, maybe go Michael Penix or Bo Nix, but Talise Fuaga fell right into my lap here, and he's just this big, bruising, physical lineman that I think Antonio Pierce would love to have, and They did lose Jermaine Lumineer to the Giants, and he kind of filled the role where he could play tackle, play guard. And Fuaga has that capability. I think he's a pro-ready right tackle right off the bat, and I think that's where he's going to lock in, and that's where I'm putting him. Las Vegas Raiders at 13, taking Talise Fuaga, offensive tackle, Oregon State.
Oh yeah, big Vegas vibe kind of guy. He's got that dirty kind of just knock your teeth out kind of football playing style. A huge fan. There's not many guys in the draft that I'll go to bat for more than him. And he's going to protect any quarterback that they got. Doesn't matter which one it is.
Yep. And that puts New Orleans up here at 14. It's also a team that I was drawn. I know tackle is the pick. Everyone goes, Trevor Penning's bad. Ryan Ramczyk is up in the air, whether he's playing this year or not. But I was really banking on Fuaga here, so I kind of bit myself in the ass. But I'm going to go with a new one here. I'm going with Quinyon Mitchell, the corner from Toledo. There was some rumblings in the offseason that New Orleans might try to move on from Marshawn Lattimore, so let's get the next guy in-house, and that's Quinyon Mitchell. A lot of people consider him the CB1 in this class, not us, but he's CB2 for both of us, and I think there's going to be a lot of draft buzz around him, possibly being the first defensive player off the board. But I think New Orleans gets a stud here, and whether he pairs up with Marshawn Lattimore or takes over as the CB1 there, I think he's the type of corner that New Orleans can really build that defense around.
Him and Lattimore on the outside, you essentially are just manning two islands, taking out 1-2 receivers, which is a crazy combo. I would love to see it.
Yep. And that puts Indianapolis here on the clock at 15, and that is you, Nick.
That's a me team. I'm looking to get Anthony Richardson, a weapon in the house, and there is one elite blue tier chip collar kind of guy. I'm going tight end Brock Bowers from Georgia to Indianapolis. No more Mo Alley Cox. No more those
Jelani Woods
tight ends. We're fielding all-star tight ends now, baby, in Indianapolis with Brock Bowers for the next 10 years. The dude's a monster. I can't wait to see Anthony Richardson with Brock Bowers and the weapons around. They already got him. With Pity City, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Downs, good-looking offense.
Yeah, starting strong and keeping Anthony Richardson healthy is going to be the key. But getting him all these weapons is a good start. Like, the best friend to a rookie quarterback is usually a tight end, and you're bringing in the best tight end prospect in ages. No offense, Kyle Pitts, but Brock Bowers trumps you, baby. I think that's a great pick for the Colts. I think if he is there come Thursday, they're going to run that card up.
Such a steal, dude. At 15, that's crazy.
16 is the Seattle Seahawks, and that is Nick, but there's a team calling, and we got our fourth trade here of the first round as the Philadelphia Eagles are moving up. They're trading the 22nd pick and their 5th round pick and a 25 third to Seattle for the 16th pick and a 6th round pick later in this draft. So now the Eagles are on the clock. And I thought this one was a no-brainer. The Eagles need corner help, and there's a guy that really fits their scheme. They also love those SEC dudes. And Terrion Arnold being on the board, the Eagles had to work that phone, and I'm glad they got a deal done here with Seattle. This was an easy one. Cornerback Terrion Arnold to Philadelphia here at 16 on the trade-up.
You hate to see it as a Giants fan. Good God. But that's a great move for Philly, dude. Bradbury really struggled for Philly late in the season, and you got to get someone in there.
I truly think with this pick being made, we see James Bradbury as a camp casualty. I think they move on from him.
Yeah, save a little bit of cap room, and you're bringing in essentially a better James Bradbury. Terrion Arnold's younger. He's going to be better than Bradbury. Not in this. Well, Bradbury was very good for years.
Yeah.
No slander.
So 17 here. Jacksonville's on the clock. That is me. Terrion Arnold going off the board hurt. And it really kind of put Jacksonville here in a pickle. I did look at Brian Thomas Jr., but they sort of have a guy similar to that in Gabe Davis, who they locked up. So, and Christian Kirk, like they all just kind of seem like the same receiver. So I kind of shied away from receiver. I didn't like Cooper DeJean in that defense. And Trent Baalke loves these freak athletic just dudes, and Byron Murphy II is sitting here, the interior defensive lineman from Texas. And that's the route I went, pairing him up with Trayvon Walker, who was the first pick a few years ago, and Josh Allen. Let's just build the trenches there in Jacksonville, just create a force of havoc there on defense. So Byron Murphy, the second here to the Jaguars at 17.
A big fan of Murphy. And yeah, the corner going, the two corners that would really fit Jacksonville going before them really hurts.
Yep.
But good choice. Murphy to Jacksonville. Nice fit.
A lot of buzz that Murphy could be the first defensive player picked on Thursday, so we'll see about that. 18 Cincinnati Bengals are on the clock. That's also me. I was considering Murphy here. I could have went with my boy Jerzon Johnny Newton, but I think the Bengals need to keep Joe Burrow upright. And I love the upside of Olu Fashanu, the offensive tackle from Penn State. So that's where I'm going here for Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's just been putting off keeping Burrow protected for years. So about time you get him a tackle.
Yep. 19, the Los Angeles Rams, also me. The first ever first round pick in the Sean McVay era. And I know everyone wants to plug in a defensive tackle here, but my edge one is sitting on the board, and I think that makes the transition of losing Aaron Donald a little smoother there for Kobe Turner, who had a great year next to Donald. So I think generating a pass rush is as important as just replacing Aaron Donald. And I think Jared Verse does that. He's a big, strong, powerful defensive end, and I think he slides in nicely there and kind of takes the ease off Kobe Turner having to be the power guy as the tackle. So I like Verse here too, the Rams at 19.
I think he fits Cincinnati very well. Or
Los Angeles.
LA, yeah, my bad. Yeah, if you can either go any type of D-line for the Rams, edge, interior.
Yep. 20 through 24. So the next 5 picks are all you. Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock here. Where are you going? You looking receiver here?
I thought about receiver to replace Deontay Johnson, but you need an offensive line more so in that kind of offense. They're going to be running heavy. So I'm going to go with Graham Barton, offensive lineman from Duke. He can fit any lineman spot. They picked up Herbig from the Jets, Samatu from Philly, and then
they drafted Broderick Jones.
Yeah, and they also picked up another guard from Chicago. But you could start him at any of those spots. And with their new offensive coordinator, they're going to be running 80% of the time.
Artie Smith over here. All right, Miami up here at 21. I imagine they were hoping Barton was there.
Barton is usually always Miami pick, but I just gave him a tackle. I went him Ararius Mims from Georgia, offensive tackle, huge ceiling kind of guy.
He can sit a year maybe behind Teron Armstead.
Yeah, if they don't need him to play this year, he could sit.
Yep,
or he can,
I like that.
He
also really athletic, can move around. I think he's a good fit there for Miami. 22. This is the Seattle Seahawks, who traded back here from 16. Where'd you go with this pick?
I was all over the place with this pick. I had no idea what I wanted to do for Seattle. The board did not fall for them.
The board
whatsoever.
did not fall for them. No.
So I just went with my BPA on the defensive side of the ball. I went Johnny Newton, interior defensive line. He's going to help him out day one. He's going to have a huge impact on the defense side of the ball.
Him and Leonard Williams. Hell yeah.
Great pairing.
Yeah, I like that. All right. 23, New England, the other pick they got here from Minnesota. Where'd you go here for the Patriots? What are you looking at?
Quarterback. This is where I have them snagging their quarterback, and I'm going Michael Penix Jr., Washington.
All right.
They just brought him in, I think, on Tuesday for an interview. So last week, so we could go.
And you're getting him his best protector also earlier in Troy Fatanu.
Yep. So you got him a lineman. You got a guy that's going to keep him upright in the pocket because Penix doesn't kick it out. He stands up, takes every hit possible.
Yep.
And the New England style, I think it could work.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because a lot of people's pro comp for Michael Penix is Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, exactly.
Who happens to be the quarterback there. So I like that. I was actually eyeing, if Penix fell past New England here, I was eyeing trying to trade up as a Vegas to get Penix because I do think that's a combination that is possible come Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
New
Vegas
England,
loves Penix.
yep. All right, Dallas on the clock here at 24. Where are you going?
Running back. No, joking. Not yet. Soon. But we got to get the guys that are going to protect the run game. So I'm going to go Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle from Oklahoma. The Cowboys' offensive line's getting old. It's getting decrepit.
Mm-hmm.
Time to start restocking them up. So pull the trigger this year with one of them, with Tyler Guyton.
He could go to right tackle, take over for Terrence Steele. You can slide Tyler Smith to left tackle from left guard. I know that's something they've discussed. Or you can keep Tyler Smith there, try Guyton at left. I don't see that as a successful move, but putting him at right with Terrence Steele, replacing Terrence Steele eventually, I think that's the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm back. 25, the Green Bay Packers. This one's an easy one. My defensive player one still on the board. Cooper DeJean from Iowa here for the Packers. They need corner help. They need safety help. I got one of them here with Cooper DeJean. We'll see how the board falls later to see if I could snag one or the other, but I got a piece for my defense. Yet again, a Packers defensive selection here in the first round, but I think this one's a no-brainer. Cooper DeJean to the Green Bay Packers in what is my worst nightmare as a Vikings fan.
Green Bay always gets shit for taking defensive guys, but if you're looking at your division, dude, the Bears are stacked on offense. You guys got Jefferson and Addison and TJ Hawkinson. The Lions have fucking St. Brown,
Sam
an
Laporta.
elite run game, Sam Laporta. You got to get weapons on the defense in your division. And what better than cornerback one, defensive player one, Cooper DeJean.
Yep, I agree. 26, this is you, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the clock.
Tampa, I went defensive end Chop Robinson, Penn State. I think Tampa's in high need of edge rushers, some guys that can really change the game from getting pressure. And I think Chop has the ability to be one of those guys, if all panned out, to be an elite edge rusher in the NFL.
This is kind of bringing me Vernon Golston to the Jets vibes with Todd Bowles there, now getting Chop Robinson, this super toolsy, just freak show.
At least it's not top 8 or Vernon Golston.
That's true, yeah, you're getting at 26 here, but no, I like Robinson at Tampa Bay. I think he fits that scheme well. 27, Arizona on the clock. We hit big with Marvin Harrison, and I'm going to go with Nate Wiggins here, the corner from Clemson. Jonathan Gannon loves those like flashy speed, just elite athletes at corners. And I'm going to snag Wiggins. He's a super athlete. We'll see if he can fix up his physicality, but I like that here for Arizona. 28 is Buffalo. That's also me. And my wide receiver 4 has fallen into my lap. And Buffalo is in need right now to replace Gabe Davis with Brian Thomas Jr. We're replacing Steph Diggs with BTJ. Field stretcher here for Josh Allen. He's just going to huck it, chuck it to him. And I think this is a great situation for Brian Thomas Jr. to fall into because Buffalo's got underneath guys in Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel. Stretch that field with BTJ. They also have Kincaid also working. So Brian Thomas can do exactly what he did in LSU. And that's run the verts, baby.
You had it right the first time in replacing Gabe Davis, where he'll have games where he has 0 catches. You are right.
29, Detroit Lions on the clock, and this is you controlling the franchise.
Detroit needs help secondary-wise. So I'm going to go with a really safe corner in the draft. I'm going to go cornerback Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama. He's going to be a first-round guy. He should be a first-round guy. There's a whole bunch of talk that he might fall out. I don't see that happening. At the end of the day, he's such a safe prospect, and he's such a Detroit kind of guy. He's just going to go in there and make the whole team kind of better, and they're a team mentality in Detroit. Kool-Aid to Detroit, good fit.
I agree. I like that fit a lot. Baltimore's on the clock, but we have our final trade here of the first round as the Carolina Panthers are moving up. They have the first pick of the second round, so it's not a big jump for them. They're trading that first pick of the second round, so pick 33, a 7th, and a 25 fifth-round pick that belongs to the New York Giants, to the Ravens for this selection here. And I'm looking at still getting Bryce Young as much help as possible. And I got a field stretcher. I got a do-it-all wide receiver still sitting on the board in Adonai Mitchell from Texas. So I'm bringing him in to pair with Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen. Essentially, moving on from Jonathan Mingo for now. But I like this fit here. I think Bryce Young needs to start stretching the field for that offense to be successful. And Adonai Mitchell is that kind of guy where he'll track that ball. And they tried to shore up their offensive line here through free agency. Let's get some more weapons in the house.
Yeah, I like Mitchell to Carolina. I'm a big AD Mitchell kind of guy. With Young, Deontay Johnson, Thielen to work the offense, you got to do stuff to get Young to at least look decent on paper, and that's what's going to be.
You spend so much to get this guy now. Make it as easy as possible to make it look like this is paying off, because right now you're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, exactly. And you have such an owner that's such like a spend money kind of guy. You got to do what Chicago or all of these other teams with young quarterbacks are doing. You got to start getting some weapons in the house.
Yep. All right, 31, San Francisco on the clock, the Super Bowl runner-up, the losers from that Super Bowl. This is you, Nick. Where are you going here for the 49ers?
I'm going to go with the trenches. Their offensive line's kind of getting old. And I'm going to go with Jordan Morgan, Arizona.
Okay, I like that.
A guy that kind of snuck into the first round for me.
Yeah,
I like his game a lot. What's up?
He's one of those swing guys, can play tackle, play guard. He could probably play guard right off the bat here, and then eventually maybe replace Trent Williams in the long run as a left tackle.
Yeah, I think San Fran would really know what to do with him, sliding him inside for a couple years, like you said, and then if need be, you can kick him back out. He's very versatile.
All right, final pick of the first round, the Super Bowl winners, the Kansas City Taylor Swifts, the Kansas City Chiefs here on the clock. This is me. I went back and forth on this one. I thought about some linemen, but I don't think this guy would fall to Kansas City in the second round. I think they are going to look at wide receiver in this draft. I would think they'd prefer second round, but I don't think this guy makes it there. And he kind of takes the Tyreek Hill position of this offense where he is just stretching that field. And I'm going the speed man. Wide receiver Xavier Worthy from Texas, sneaking into the first round here. Putting him in Kansas City is volatile. Him with Hollywood Brown and hopefully Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, the Chiefs will be. Whew. I'm in. That's how you sell me on Xavier Worthy, though. Him to Kansas City, but like I said, I don't think he falls to 64, so I'm going to hope the offensive line board or defensive backboard falls to me here in the second round for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think he goes way closer to 32 than 64.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely. I'm not huge on Worthy. Neither of us are. But if you can get him into an offense that knows how to use him with an elite quarterback with an elite arm, he's going to have some plays where he looks pretty good.
Yep. All right, we're going to dive right into the second round here. First pick of the second round is the Baltimore Ravens, who traded back with Carolina. That is me. And I'm going with a guy who just feels like a Baltimore Raven. I'm going with defensive lineman, so he can play a little edge, play a little interior. I'm going with Darius Robinson from Missouri here to the Baltimore Ravens.
Big fan.
Yep.
I usually see him going in the end of the first, but him to fall out and go very early second, it's not a bad of the eye.
Nope.
And he is a huge Baltimore guy. You got that right on the nose.
Yep. 34, New England Patriots on the clock with their third pick of this draft. Where are you going? They got Michael Penix in the first and Troy Fautanu. What you looking at here in the second?
I'm sticking on the offensive side of the ball. New regime in New England. We got to get some playmakers for Penix. I'm going to go wide receiver, Ladd McConkey, Georgia. He's a guy that can do a little bit of everything from the receiver
because he's white.
Point. Yeah, because he's white. You got it. No, but he could do everything. He's not even like a slot receiver, New England kind of guy. He plays more outside. But him and Penix, I would love to see it, dude. He's got the speed to go with Penix's arm. That'd be a lot of fun in New England.
Yep, and their leading receiver had 500 yards last year. It was like Demario Douglas. They need weapons. They were pushing hard for Calvin Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
So McConkey here in the second is great value. 35, Arizona back on the clock here. We got Nate Wiggins at the end of the first, Marvin Harrison Jr. at the beginning, and a prime prospect has fallen into our laps here at 35. Center Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon here to the Cardinals, who are who are eating up this draft. Great draft class here for the Cardinals. Starting strong to build a hopeful contender here in the NFC West. Tough division. You got to get the guys going. Got to keep Murray upright, get him weapons, and that's what we've done here while also helping the defense out.
Yeah, that's a great pick for Arizona.
Yep.
Such a good draft class we got going on for him.
Yep, I agree. Monty Austin eating up, getting that money, baby. 36 to Washington Commanders. They've got Jaden Daniels in the first. Now I'm pairing them up here. They need some defensive back help. Safety one on my board, still there. Tyler Newb in Minnesota here to the Commanders.
Good pick.
Yep. Now we got the Los Angeles Chargers on the clock. They went Joe Alt in the first round. Where are you going here for second with a Harbaugh squad?
There was a lot of spots I could have went. I was really looking at the receivers. Didn't really like any of their fits too much in LA, so I kind of kicked it to the defensive side of the ball. And just for the shits and giggles, I'm going to go with a Michigan guy with Harbaugh. So I went with Mikey Sandistro, cornerback, Michigan. Dog.
Chargers need defensive back help, and Sanistro's going to slide right in nicely. That's a good fit. Next up here on the clock at 38 is the Tennessee Titans, but we have our final trade of this mock draft as the Los Angeles Rams are calling, and they're trading 52, which is their second round pick, a fifth and a 25 fourth to Tennessee for this second round pick and a seventh round pick later in this draft. And I'm getting a replacement for Matthew Stafford. Bo Nix still sitting here. I knew I'd have to jump the Saints and the Raiders. I knew they'd be considering quarterbacks, and even the Giants. So Bo Nix here, 38th to the Los Angeles Rams.
You gotta start looking for replacements for Stafford. He's pretty old. And you definitely jumped the right teams that were necessary to get him. A couple of those teams, the Giants were my team. I was eyeing Bo Nix. I know you were eyeing him for the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
So good move for the Rams. They get the quarterback of their future, hopefully.
Yep. All right. 39, Carolina back on the clock. They traded up into the first round, drafted Adonai Mitchell, get Bryce Young some more weapons. Now let's get Bryce Young some protection. We're going with interior offensive lineman Zach Frazier here for the Carolina Panthers.
Huge fan.
Yeah. I think that was a great pick for them. Fell nicely into their lap there. A good, safe, just big, bad boy.
Great
in Carolina.
And with Carolina, you have to do everything you can possibly do to keep Bryce up. He's very fragile, and great offensive line can make any quarterback look good.
Yep. 40, Washington Commanders back on the clock. We got Tyler Newbin earlier this round, Jaden Daniels. Let's get him some protection. It's a little bit of a reach, but I know a lot of people in Washington apparently love this guy. I'm going offensive tackle Patrick Paul from Houston. I did try moving this pick, but nobody was taking the calls, so had to get the guy that they want, and I think that's the dude there.
As a Giants fan, I kind of hope that happens. Not a
which is funny. They draft Patrick Paul and they released his brother. His brother was Chris Paul. 41, Green Bay Packers back on the clock, and I'm taking nickel corner safety Javon Bullard from Georgia, which pretty much solidifies Cooper DeJean as the starting corner with Jair Alexander, and then Eric Stokes, who can't stay healthy. He'll be the 3, and get Javon Bullard and Cooper DeJean, kind of run some like unique schemes with those two guys. I really like the fit there for Green Bay. So that's where we're going there for the Packers. I know you love Javon Bullard. He was your safety 1.
Yeah, I had him ranked in my top 30, and they get him and Coop. You're rocking some scary situations on that defensive side of the ball.
Yep. 42, Houston Texans making their debut here in this draft. And I know D'Amico Ryans values the linebacker position, and Edgerrin Cooper sitting on the board. He plays his game like Fred Warner, who D'Amico Ryans coached in San Francisco. So brings him on in here to add some athleticism to that Houston defense.
Not many more people will go to bat for Edgerrin Cooper like I do. And to him to go to D'Amico Ryans in Houston, dude, oh, good God, that would be terrifying. He would be unbelievable. I'd love it.
Puts Atlanta on the clock here at 43. They traded back in the first round and were able to snag Leatu Latu, the edge rusher from UCLA. So where are you looking at here for the Falcons?
Well, I'm glad you're letting me grab a pick here. You had a nice stretch of 5, and you got 2 after this. I kind of want to get Kirk another weapon in the house, and I'm going to go with wide receiver Keon Coleman from Florida State.
Ooh, Coleman, a guy and that can Drake really London.
A guy that can hop into that offense with Drake and just start killing it, dude. I'd love
Kyle
to see
Pitts. They got some big bodies out there for Kirko. I love that.
Yeah, dude, that'd be scary, dude. I love Keon Coleman, especially in Atlanta. Ooh.
Yep. And he can kind of be eased in too, because they brought in Rondale Moore and Darnell Mooney. So nice little offense building there for Kirk Cousins and Atlanta. Vegas is up here, 44.
You're up with Vegas.
Yep. I wanted to trade up for Penix, but New England took him there in the first. And then I thought about Bo Nix, but the Rams jumped there. So I'm getting physical still. Like, we got Fuanga in the first round, just a big physical guy on the offensive line. So I'm going to get a physical corner here. I'm taking Enos Rakestraw Jr. from Missouri to the Vegas Raiders.
People want to call him fucking Oakland all the time. It's gonna happen. I'm calling him Oakland. I can't do this nonsense. Yeah. Rakestraw in Oakland, dude, would be my dream, dude. So good.
He fits. I think he's just. I think Antonio Pierce has come in and just take these just physical, just no nonsense football players. And I think Rakestraw fits that bill.
As a Giants fan, I want nothing more than Antonio Pierce to go in there and be successful, baby. I love that dude. Oh, man, it's so happy for him, dude. Love it.
Yep. All right, I'm back up 45 here in the New Orleans Saints. The board did kind of fall for me. I took Quinyon Mitchell in the first, and I got a tackle that I really like here available. I'm going with Kingsley Suamataia from BYU. I can play him left or right, and hopefully figure out that situation there with Trevor Penning, Ryan Ramczyk. But I like that Suamataia fell here because after him, I'm not sure there's maybe one other tackle I would have considered here. So I do like that. A strong guy, I think he's 6 on my big board at offensive tackle, fell here to New Orleans.
That puts me up with the Colts.
In Indianapolis, yep. They went Brock Bowers in the first. Where are we going here in the second for the Colts?
We're going to kick it to the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to look for secondary help. I'm going to go cornerback, TJ Tampa, Iowa State.
Love that.
A nice fit for Indy. Him and Brent would be a nice combo on the outside.
Plus Moore on the inside. Yeah. Kenny Moore. Yeah, playing slot.
It's a nice secondary.
Yeah. Yep. And now 47, the New York Giants on the clock. Where are you looking at for the Giants?
I'm going to keep trying to help Danny Dimes a little bit, but we're going to grab him a little bit of protection. I'm going to go with the interior lineman, Christian Haynes from UConn. We're pretty set on center, and yeah, it's your guy, big TJ guy. Our guards, we did sign Runyon in the offseason, and the guy from New England who can play guard and tackle.
Lumineer, Jermaine Lumineer.
The last time I checked, we're keeping him at tackle, so I'm looking for an interior lineman with hands, and hopefully he'll be able to help Danny stay upright and whatever running back we're fielding.
I love this pick for you guys.
Probably Devin Singletary, which I'm fine with. But yeah, Haynes, dog, dude.
Singletary can bounce to the outside, and Christian Haynes, one of the best pulling guards in this draft class. So great pickup here. Now we're going to get 3 straight picks from me. 48 Jacksonville. I didn't go receiver in the first round. Byron Murphy Jr. Byron Murphy the second was there. So I had to snag him, and receiving board fell nicely to me. I got a little bit of everything guy in Christian Kirk. I got a deep threat in Gabe Davis. Now I'm getting a yak kind of guy, kind of just work screen game, work the slants, also contested catch, dude. I'm taking Xavier Legette from South Carolina. I love his fit in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Not many guys like Legette more than us. We both had him in our top 10.
Yeah. I'm probably moving on from Zay Jones now.
They should have moved on from Zay Jones a couple years ago, so they can find
Yep. Cincinnati on the clock here at 49 now. I went with Braden Fisk, the interior defensive lineman from Florida State. I did look at Chris Jenkins, but I wanted more of a pass rush upside, as both Bengals' current interior guys are more just kind of, run cloggers. So I wanted to get kind of a guy to work the interior, get some pressure there, and I think Fisk can do that. He's got the great pass rush skill set, a little undersized, but running him in on passing rotations as the rotational guy, great fit there for Cincinnati.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot.
Pair him nicely, and then shored up the trenches on the other side with the first round pick with Olu Fashanu.
Good draft for Cincinnati. They got to start working those trenches, dude.
Yep. 50, Philadelphia on the clock here. They traded up in the first round, got Terrion Arnold, and we're going back to Alabama. We're going Chris Braswell, the edge rusher from Alabama. The Eagles, they develop edge rushers well. They just plug and chug guys there, and Braswell could kind of be a rotational guy before eventually taking over a spot. They did just trade Hassan Reddick, but Braswell, I think, slides in as a nice rotational piece before eventually taking over as a starting role there for the Eagles.
All's well, Braswell, or whatever the fuck Merck said that one time.
All's well that Braswell. Yep, that's the mindset. It's a Philly thing, baby.
Go Birds.
51, the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock, and that is you. Where are you going here for the Steelers?
I'm back up. You said Yak. You wanted the Yak receiver for Jacksonville, so I kind of got very scared. I'm like, oh no, he's not going to fall. But I'm taking the Yak King, baby, to Pittsburgh. I'm going wide receiver, Malachi Corley, Western Kentucky. Him in the Pittsburgh system, dude, I think he's going to thrive.
I agree.
They need a nice slot receiver in Pittsburgh, and he would shine like, dude. It would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect compliment to George Pickens. And then they got the cardio god and Van Jefferson on the other side. Mm-hmm. Corley can be that easy dump-off piece there for Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. And I could see Arthur Smith kind of using him like Cordarrelle Patterson, too. We got the running back history there for Malachi. Yeah.
Patterson's also
there. So I really like the fit with Corley to Pittsburgh there, even though I'm a lot lower on Corley than you.
And no one drafts receivers better than Pittsburgh, dude. They're always snagging receivers second to fourth round, just snagging them up.
52s, the Tennessee Titans, who traded back. This was originally the Los Angeles Rams. Titans on the clock. Where are you going here? First round, they went with J.C. Latham, the offensive tackle from Alabama.
I'm going to kick it to the defensive line, and I'm picking a guy that I can never pronounce this guy's first name.
I got you. It's Adisa Isaac.
There we go. There's something about his name that I can just not get my tongue to do the back two letters. It doesn't.
It's a lot of vowels just next to each other.
His name's not it. Yeah, that's who I went with Tennessee. They need an edge rusher, and I was really trying to snag up Braswell. I think he would have been a good fit in Tennessee, but ID's Isaac.
There you go. You got it. Philadelphia back on the clock here at 53. Took Braswell here a few picks ago, paired him with Terrion Arnold. The Eagles love drafting a year ahead, so I'm going to try to bring in a replacement for Lane Johnson, who's always teetering with retiring. And I'm going with the offensive tackle from Washington, Roger Rosengarten here. 21 years old. He's young, super athletic, fastest 40 in the draft for offensive linemen. Can sit a year or two behind Lane Johnson and eventually take over. This seems like an Eagles pick, and it'll be like, man, they did it again.
They did it again. He's such a Philly offensive line. He's such an athlete, dude. And I love Rosenberger. Him to go to Philly would be heartbreaking because I know he would pan out so well. He's going to have a year to sit, which would do him wonders. And then next year he can just slide right in at right and become an amazing right tackle for Philly for the next fucking decade.
All right. Next up, the Cleveland Browns. They're the last team to make their first appearance here at 54. And this is you. Where are you going?
Almost the hour mark. Cleveland's hopping in here, baby.
Yeah. They showed up late. They forgot. They're on Central Time. They're an hour behind.
Indeed. They went out and they got Jerry Jeudy pretty cheap from Denver.
They did,
with Amari Cooper. I think they're going to add another weapon for Watson. I'm going to go Troy Franklin, wide receiver from Oregon. a true
Field stretcher.
straight line deep threat for Watson to chuck the ball to. He's very similar to oh man, what was his name in Houston?
Will Fuller?
Yes, Will Fuller. Yep, that was it. And Deshaun Watson hit him every time, dude.
Yeah,
Fuller was
like that.
an amazing fantasy option for no reason whatsoever. Besides
when he
was
healthy.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This is a big string for you here. 55, Miami on the clock. Where are you going here for the Dolphins, who went with Amarius Mims in the first round?
Miami's still in need of help on the interior line, so I'm going to snag a guard here. I'm going to go Cooper Beebe from Kansas State. To get another lineman to keep Tua safe, dude. You've seen the last couple of years, he just gets rocked every time.
Yeah.
Dude. You got to get linemen in there to protect them.
And Beebe's the perfect complement. Mims, big upside guy, minimal football experience, whereas you get this kind of guy who's just a steady dude there in the interior. I like that with Beebe to Miami. I was actually eyeing him.
Guard.
I was actually eyeing him coming up here with Green Bay in a few picks. I was really banking on Cooper Beebe being there. But you snagged him up for me, and now Dallas is on the clock at 56. What you looking at here for the Cowboys?
Made the joke about running back in round 1. Not a joke in round 2. Running back, Trey Benson, Florida State. My running back 1, your running back 1. And it kills me that he's in Dallas, dude. But
who is their running back? Who's the Dallas Cowboys running back? It's Rico Dowdle? Yeah.
I have no idea.
I think it is. It's Rico Dowdle. That name's not exciting anybody. No disrespect to Rico Dowdle, who was a nice rotational piece with Tony Pollard last year, but man, you bring Trey Benson into that fold of that offense, and easy skyrocketing his dynasty value, and even his probably redraft value too, because he's probably the starting back right off the bat, and Dallas can run the ball. Man, I love that. I love Benson to Dallas there at 56. That is a great pick.
Living in the area of Dallas Cowboys haters, it's constantly, who's their running back going to be this year? They're going to be awful. They have no running back. You know how easy it is to go find a starting running back in the NFL? Like, what are we talking about here?
Cool, Philly. You paid Saquon Barkley all this money.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. They literally just snagged Trey Benson to start.
Yep. 57, Tampa Bay. That's you. First round, they went with Chop Robinson. And now second round, Tampa Bay. We getting help for Todd Bowles, or are we getting help for Baker? You going defense?
Nope. Todd Bowles loves defense, baby. Got to help it out. Their secondary kind of struggled out in moments last year, so we're going to snag cornerback Kamari Lassiter from Georgia.
Real good value here. He really took a fall.
Great value. I really wasn't high on him going into the draft process, but he's such a good prospect. He's safe. He's going to hit. And him in Tampa with Todd Bowles, it's going to be pretty dope.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot there for the Bucks. Nice little draft. Get a good flourish guy in Kamari Lassiter to pair up with your big upside guy in Chop Robinson in the first. Green Bay back on the clock here with their third pick. Earlier this round, we went with Javon Bullard, the safety nickelback from Georgia. And in the first, we went with Cooper DeJean, defensive back from Iowa. I'm not taking a defensive back here, as fun as that would be, but I am staying on the defensive side of the ball. I'm taking linebacker Junior Colson from Michigan. Putting him with Quay Walker, I love that. I love that pairing. Green Bay loves like the big name school like guys, and that's why I went with Javon Bullard. They love Georgia, sort of like Philadelphia, and now you get a guy who's close by in Junior Colson, so you know Wisconsin saw him a lot, and he's a baller, and he'd be perfect to shore up the middle of their linebacking crew as they transition to a 4-3 defense.
There shouldn't be a Packers fan listening to this podcast that would be angry at this draft, brother. Man, they're hitting on every single prospect right now. Crazy.
Haven't drafted me a lineman yet. That's a 7-round draft. I got time. So I'm back up here again here, 59, Houston. Earlier in this round, I took Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker from Texas A&M. I'm staying on the defense. I'm shoring up those trenches. I'm going Chris Jenkins here for DeMeco Ryans. Jenkins in the interior, Edge Cooper, man in the middle of the field. I like Houston here. Traded for Stefan Diggs with Nico Collins, Tank Dell coming back, Dalton Schultz. the offense is set.
Joe
Could get some
Mixon.
depth on. Yeah, Joe Mixon, get some depth on the offensive line, but let's shore up the defense here for D'Amico Bryan. Let him work with these pieces. These are some nice gets for the Houston Texans.
Yeah,
Also,
dude, you're really getting
fresh new jerseys.
dude. Their jerseys are so nice, dude. Oh, and you're getting D'Amico some crazy pieces on the defense, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I love Chris Jenkins, dude. He
Yeah.
ball out in Houston, dude. He ball.
60 Buffalo on the clock. I went with Brian Thomas Jr. In the first round. It's a big me guy, and I'm staying with. This is predictive, but you're gonna think I'm just plugging in pieces I love in Buffalo. They need defensive back help. Their corners aren't great, and they let Tre'Davious White go. I'm picking up Max Melton from Rutgers here at 60. Locking him in with Bedford and the other guy whose name's slipping my mind. Sorry, Buffalo's second corner, but Max Melton, easy plug in. He can be the nickel guy. He can play outside there for Buffalo. I like that pick for the Bills here at 60.
I like that a lot. There was actually a couple spots that I typed in his name. I typed out position, typed out his name, typed out Rutgers, and I just deleted it. I'm like, no, not yet.
Yeah.
The Giants were one of them. The Giants were one of them. The Lions.
Low moving cost.
Not the Lions. Not the Lions. Yeah, there were 2 or 3 teams that I just typed in Max Milton.
Yeah.
So.
Lions, though, they're on the clock here, 61. Who are you looking at here for Detroit? First round, they went with Kool-Aid McKinstry, the corner from Alabama. Where are we going second round for the Lions?
I'm gonna snag them a receiver to help out Jared Goff.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they lost Reynolds in the offseason.
They did. He's in Denver.
Okay. And then I tried to snag them a guy that can do a little bit of what he does. So I'm gonna go Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver from Florida.
Sticky Ricky, baby.
Sticky Ricky. I think him in Detroit would be awesome, dude. He would be balling, dude. He makes great catches. He's a good team guy.
Jameson Williams, and Amon-Ra.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Sam Laporta. Yeah,
dude,
Ricky
Pearsall. He needs to turn it up.
Yeah, Ricky Pearsall, he's got that work ethic. He's got that in him, and Dan Campbell's going to love that. And Amon-Ra, he's going to love that. He's super competitive as is, and Ricky Pearsall also super competitive. That's just going to make both those guys better. And Amon-Ra's already a top 5 receiver in the league.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch out.
I
Big
think
year coming for Amon-Ra.
Those two combo would be very fun to watch with Jared Goff and the elite run game that they already have.
Yeah. 62, Baltimore on the clock. They traded out of the first round. Got Darius Robinson at the top of this round, and the board fell for them here. I've said this guy feels like a Raven. Anytime we talk about receivers, that's Jalen Polk, the wide receiver from Washington. I think he complements Zay Flowers nicely. He can do some contested catch. He's got real strong hands. He can play the boundary while Zay can do his damage on the inside. I really like that. Getting another weapon here for Lamar Jackson.
I like that pick a lot because if you weren't going to pick him there, I was going to trade the Patriots back into the second and pick another receiver.
Man, Polk lad for Penix and Fatanu.
Yeah.
That would have been wild. Would have been a great draft for New England, but Baltimore.
I really wanted to get Polk and Penix together.
Played the spoiler. All right, that puts the Niners here on the clock at 63 as we're getting close to the end of the second round.
The Niners really need to get some secondary help. It really failed them a lot late in the season. You've seen it in the playoff run too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Drew Phillips from Kentucky, big TJ guy, your boy. I really think he sneaks into the end of the second, and he's a dog, dude. He's
so physical. The Niners are gonna love him.
Yeah, in San Fran, I think he could really be good.
All right, and that puts me back on the clock here. Final pick of the second round, the Kansas City Chiefs. Went Xavier Worthy in the first round, and I was hoping the board would fall to me, and I did get a high upside tackle here in Karan Amagaji from Yale. He can sit for a year behind Juwan Taylor and kind of ease back in and easy transition there. I mean, maybe he does play left tackle this year. Donovan Smith, free agent, and he was kind of a bum last year anyways. Maybe Taylor slides to the left. Karan plays the right, but we'll see. But I like that value there at 64 for Kansas City. The board did fall for them, which seems to happen. The Chiefs usually get, some like, wow, how'd that guy fall to them? every year.
Yep. Yeah, you're looking at the Chiefs draft and you're like, how did that guy get in the Chiefs?
Yep.
Oh, he fell to the second or the third. Okay.
And it's never like, oh wow, like that guy, like huge flash. It's just like good, solid football players. It's like, oh
Yep.
yeah, fits the Kansas City way, baby. There you got it. 2 rounds in the books. Locked it in there. Final mock draft of the mock draft season. I heard somebody say mock drafts are just fan fiction for men, and it got me. It got me good.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here thinking about Trey Benson in Dallas, and I'm like, damn.
6 to midnight, baby.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, there we got it. Mock draft in the books. We're going to churn through all 7 of these rounds here, but not going to recap as we are pushing 70 minutes here. But we'll post it up on the Twitter feed and elsewhere. Whatnot, but there we got it. Draft is a few days away. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. That's why we started this bad boy, and I cannot wait to see where these guys go. We picked a good draft class to start this podcast off. Great draft class. Excited. Share your comments. Where do you guys want your team to go? You know, where do you tell us like, hey, I'm a fan of this team, and I would have went with this guy there instead. I want to hear it. I want to hear what you guys take. Like, you know, chances are we only got like 3 of these right because mock drafts are incredibly hard to pinpoint everything. But we appreciate your time listening here to the Drafted Up podcast. Like us on Twitter at draftedup_pod. Find us YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Like, review, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. Spread the love. We love you guys, and I hope you love us as much as we love you. Thank you, as always, for joining us here on the Drafted Up podcast. Enjoy the draft. Hey, you guys, you rule. You rule.
BK, you rule.
Yeah.
Hopefully your team gets whoever y'all want. Enjoy the draft.
Bye, guys.